Now you. Good morning. Today is April 4th, 2023, and the time is now 9 a.m. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners, and I will call this meeting of the board to order. If you do have cell phones, please silence them at this time. And thank you. Bill, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. And join me for the invocation. Father, we come before you this morning and we just ask, Lord, that as we come together here today to do the business of the county, that you would be with us. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your watch care. And we just ask that you would guard our thoughts, our words, and our actions. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, can we get a roll call, please, Kelly?
Commissioner Day,
Here.
Commissioner Kanda.
Here.
Commissioner Flower,
Present.
and Clerk to the Board, Kelly Camper, present.
And if we could go for audience introductions, we'll start with you, James. James Gilbert.
Reggie Foster, Extension. And Jennifer Creed, your admin.
Okay, and I believe we've got one or two people online. If anybody goes to speak later, if you could ID yourself for the record, that would be greatly appreciated. Any amendments to the agenda?
None from me.
No, sir. None here. And we have no minutes today.
No.
You on strike again?
Writer's cramp, she had to take 5. Commissioner items, Commissioner Flower. Thank you, sir.
Not a whole lot, to report. We're pressing on with scheduling up a board meeting for Custer County Recycles. We'll get a staff report on that today, and so that I think he'll cover most of what's going on there. Other than that, just not a whole lot to report.
All right, sir. Commissioner Ken.
I don't have a lot either, except one major thing that was very good. You can thank Vince and the road crew for doing a great job of leveling out the parking area next to the hangars out there. But we had mentioned that they were gonna line up. He took out the John Deere stuff after they got her fixed and the bush hog, and then they there did that. It's worth taking a trip out there and taking a look. Tell them thanks.
We'll do that. Okay. And I will make it really short here today, so do not really have anything to report on since the last meeting, so Jennifer, do you have anything for us?
I just wanted to let you know that LATCF annual report and CTF annual report were both completed and submitted. And then the other thing was to let you know that Robin and I are going to be working together about there's a drought and we have been listed and there's an emergency and she's going to talk more about it tomorrow. But as a PIO, just wanted to let you know that we're working on that to get that message out.
Since about 02. Oh, I'm sorry.
Comment on that. There's also, yeah, we are not gonna. She just sent me a note letting me know that you and Jordan are gonna look into, you got some training ideas for the both of you, and TIO in it,
Yep.
on those kinds of things.
Mhm.
That's good.
That's it.
All right, thank you. You don't have anything for us, Kelly? Okay. So we'll go to public comment. If anybody has anything they'd like to bring up that's not on the agenda today, please feel free to do so. See anything here or online? So that will take us to our staff reports.
10 minutes ahead. It's a good thing you came in here early.
Come on up, Reggie.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good, back to work, huh?
That hand from Mexico or
It is glowing. We're being awake till 2:30 with a sick child. It's going around school, I guess. So, good morning. Glad to see you. We have great news. We closed out our membership enrollment period. It ended last Friday, and as you probably remember, our goal was to increase by 15%. And we were actually able to increase 26%. So we have 116 total members and volunteers, and we're super excited about that. We also, I think I mentioned, we've had a huge boom in our shooting sports disciplines. So 5 of us are newly certified in shooting sports, shotgun, archery, and rifle. So we have a robust program for that this year. We're super excited to get that kicked off. Our robotics program is underway. We thought we would have 1 team. We now have 2. They'll compete in Denver at the state competition. We had a great district retreat last weekend, Friday through Sunday. We took 7 kids up to Golden Bell, which is in Divide, Colorado, and we did our district elections as well as the South Central district elections. 2 of our 4-H members were elected to District 7 officer team, and 1 of our members was elected to the South Central district officer team. So out of the 6 officer positions, Custer County now will be serving in 3 of those positions. So we're super
pretty good.
excited about the leadership coming from our 4-H program. The wildfire tabletop exercise that was held in Pueblo, Caitlin was able to attend that last week. She found that beneficial, and we're looking forward to working with our new OEM to establish our role in that process and natural disaster emergency or anything else that might be needed, assisting other counties if needed, with especially animal
taking care of
evacuation.
horses.
Yes,
Cows.
100%. And then I really only have 1 need, and it's not really a need, I'm looking for your assistance. We need to establish our extension advisory board. We did not receive any letters from previous members to continue to serve. And I think that will help us really advance our extension program. So
Did you
if
put out a notice originally looking for him?
we did, I believe, Jennifer, that notice went out in the paper when we were looking for all the different
Oh,
boards.
Advisory
The
board.
advisory boards, right, but we didn't get a response, so we would like to have your permission to run another advertisement for people who would be willing to serve on the advisory. It's a committee, not a board. Serve in an advisory committee. And I'd like to do a rotational schedule, have some people come on for 1 year, some people for 2 years, some people for 3 years, so that we have that natural rotation of members. And then the end goal would be everybody would serve a 3-year term.
What's it called? Extension
Advisory committee, I'm sorry,
Or
extension advisory committee, yeah. And I'd like to try to get a variety of folks, somebody who is passionate and knowledgeable about ag and natural resources, somebody who's vested in our youth development programs, somebody who has an interest in family and consumer sciences, somebody who's focused on issue-based programming, whether it's water or emerging needs in our community, growth, things like that. And then maybe a couple of folks from our community organizations and partnerships, and then build a team like that so that we can focus and make sure that extension is meeting the needs of the community.
It's a good idea. Did you put that kind of detail in your first request for people?
I
'Cause
did
that-
not,
that gets
I
them.
did not
That
have
gets
any.
people saying, well, what does it mean? And you
Right.
just explained it. That'd be
Right.
great to put.
Right. The first ad that went out, I believe, was with all of the county.
So it was just a
It was
board
just
member.
a
It was
board
up to them.
member,
I don't
right.
know what it is. So
Right. So yeah, so we would like to do an ad that has that information in the hopes of recruiting some folks.
Sure.
And maybe some, new members of our community, as well as some of those members of our community that can help us preserve, our heritage and those things, but then also allow us to meet some new needs that our community may have.
So, can it be a press release or does it, do you have money to pay for an ad? Or are you asking us for it?
Well, I do have money. There's not a line item for that in my budget. So if you guys would give me permission to spend some of my money to do the ad, then I
It's
would
your
like
money.
to, do that because I think it's important.
Get a big,
So-
nice ad out.
I think it's an important thing to help extension grow.
I don't have a problem with
succeed.
it.
Do you have any folks on the committee currently?
I do not.
Wow.
Mhm. I tried to find, I haven't been able to find any.
We have to go knock on doors.
Yeah, I've got mine. Hold up here, sorry.
The bylaws.
Yeah, I have it in the book. I just thought,
Thank you. Yeah, these are the bylaws.
just making sure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Advisory committee that doesn't exist.
Right, these are 2018. So, I mean, we probably need we just need a fresh start. We need to update our bylaws, get a new committee together and move extension forward.
Yeah, I think. Speaking for myself, I think you need to go ahead and hit stakers again and
Okay,
maybe knock on doors.
we will be knocking on doors. We're gonna do a social media push, all that kind of stuff, but you guys ultimately will appoint those folks.
You got an issue
So-
with timing?
Sooner is better than later. I don't want to rush.
And it says.
No,
we don't-
well,
we lose it.
yesterday-
We lose a grant.
Right, no, we needed them yesterday, but I want to get the right people more than I want to just put people in seats. So right now I have not been given a date. We just need to get it done. All
Over to you.
right? Okay.
Very good.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Say hi to the ghost of Michael Pass.
High five.
Jennifer's trying to get a hold of it.
Okay, I'll let him. Thank you.
Thanks, Reggie. Okay. You might as well sit down up here instead of back there, Reggie.
How you doing, Ray?
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Good.
I was hoping for more snow this morning though.
Yeah, it's still hanging around, but who knows?
We were socked in a little better on our side of the mountain.
Very
It
good.
wasn't doing a whole lot. It was snowing, but not that good.
Well, I did talk to the Wetmore and the Wet Mountain Fire Chief yesterday, and we were hoping for some good snow today and did, so we entered level or stage 1 fire restrictions this morning. I just posted that on Facebook and I'll pass it over to the PIOs.
So I guess I won't be able to burn my brush then.
Nope.
Depends on what kind of can you got it in.
So and then we've had 4 fires last month. One of those was caused by a spark leaving the chimney of a fire down on Highway 96. And then 2 of those were careless homeowners disposing of hot ashes on their property. And then there was a actual structure fire in Bull Domingo.
Lucky it didn't spread.
Very lucky.
Wind it's been.
Very lucky.
Especially since the Bull Domingo was my neighbor.
Oh,
We were glad it didn't
it
spread.
didn't spread at all.
So the fire department went out on Saturday night to put it out. And one of our sergeants was there and he said the house was just soaked to the bone of how much water they put on. Well, then the homeowner called him back on Sunday and said that he thought it was
Pump it
starting
out.
to-
The homeowner wondered what?
I'm sorry.
You said the homeowner called on Saturday and
So the initial fire was Saturday and then he called the fire department to come back on Sunday to recheck it because he thought it was
Oh.
going to start up again. So
The hay fire down by Wetmore,
a hay fire.
didn't hear about that one?
I saw it on their Facebook post.
Okay, yeah, so. So you had another fire this last month too.
Yeah.
And I don't think they knew what set that off because the hay was dry. It was down by the corrals. Couple hundred yards off the highway there, so. Where hobbies are at down there. So.
Caution is the important word with these winds. So for my report, we are currently 4% below our budget projection, which is good. We did get our bill from Fremont County Sheriff for January housing inmates, which was 12,000, February housing inmates, which was 10,000. We discovered an unpaid invoice from actually way back in 2021 that was 10,000 that we had to pay. And this is the number, the following numbers are just for the end of March, not including
Is
April.
that a Fremont County problem not telling you, or how did you have?
Oh, no, that 10,000 was a invoice that it had been, I don't know where.
2021 and got lost?
Yeah,
Really?
but it wasn't from the Fremont jail, it was from a vendor.
Oh,
So on the end of March 31st, we had 3 prisoners detained in Fremont County. We made 7 new arrests, 5 male, 2 female. 4 of those bonded out, and that's our most effective way of handling people. So if we arrest someone locally and there's a chance they can bond out, we leave them here. Right, yeah, and take care of everything up here. So 4 of the males, 4 out of 5 males bonded out, 1 of the 2 females bonded out. We had to make 1 transport for medical reasons and 0 transports for court reasons. Our total case filings are up 3%, and last month I had reported we were up 13%. So this was a slower month and got us back closer to the average. However, our arrests were up 39%. And 2 of those were for DUI, and then some of those other ones were just outstanding warrants.
sounds like it's averaging out like you expected. That's good so far.
I think so. Oh, and then I have received some informal complaints from the people who are detained in jail, and they do not like going to Fremont jail.
Food's
And
not
one of
as
them
good,
went
I
so
heard.
far, and I counted, he's been arrested 6 times here. He said he's gonna stop getting arrested, so. I served.
He loves the
There you go.
fingers up
Yeah.
there.
That's what it
I
takes
think I'll
to
go
be
break the
true.
law.
Yeah. So,
Cheaper than paying the money in the street.
any other questions?
can you give us an update on all the wrecked sheriff's vehicles? I have heard, been told, been asked about all kinds of stuff, and I thought today would be a good day to get the record straight.
Very good. So we do have a 2022 Tahoe. And there's 3 different productions of Tahoes. One is the civilian market. One is called SSV, Special Service. And then the third one is called PPV, Police Pursuit Vehicle. And the first 2 Tahoes that we bought are police pursuit vehicles. And the main difference is that they're much lower ground clearance. Well, one of those brand new Tahoes was driving down a gravel road with one of our Durangos, and he rolled over a boulder and didn't think anything of it, but it dented a suspension component under the vehicle, and we're having to get that fixed, and it's been a long process.
So that's the 2022.
Tahoe, yes, sir.
That was one of the brand new ones.
Brand spanking new.
But you said Durango.
Oh, no, there was a Durango traveling the same path as the Tahoe, and
Oh,
the
he
Durango
followed
was
him,
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Durango
And then
cleared
on
it, he did.
on that Tahoe, the County Road and Bridge mechanic researched and found a lift kit for like $150 per vehicle, so it wasn't that much. And so we're going to install it to raise it up from that pursuit setting to the SSV setting. The two new Tahoes that we're bringing in from Texas are the SSV, so they have the higher ground clearance, which is more important here. And then I have the Ford pickup truck that was in the head-on crash, and we determined as a total loss. We had the CTSI required us to get a estimate, which we did, and we've been unsuccessful in collecting the money from CTSI as of yet.
Did they determine it was totaled or no?
I don't know if they did, but it's not safe for police use.
What year was that pickup?
I don't have that information.
Okay.
It was one of the older ones, and it had gone to the junior guy.
That was
Is
that
that the
one
one
down
that-
there at McKinsey.
Yes. So I have 2 vehicles offline that I need to get online.
How's he doing with his teeth?
Good. So they did the operation on his nose, and everything turned out good. And then he's back at work on full duty.
Did we ruin the tires on that Tahoe? Or did it get caught in time? On the one that bent the suspension?
So it bent the suspension and then caused excessive tire wear, and that's how they figured it out.
Okay.
And we actually sent it to a body shop, Zimmerman's in Canyon City, and they said there's no damage. And we're like, yes, there is. And they had to go, and they're
So it
okay.
really
They weren't looking at the
slight.
right area. But I hope to mitigate that problem in the future by having the lift kit raise the back end, and then the 2 new Tahoes won't have that problem. If you have any friends at CTSI that can help speed this up, Lisa was going to call them last week.
And was there a new vehicle got the frame bent, or was that the?
That was the Tahoe. And it's not it has to do with the independent rear suspension. And so there's a piece of suspension that hangs down, and then there's 2 arms that go out to the tires, and that piece is damaged.
Why don't you give me a phone number we've been talking to? I know a lot of
Okay.
CTSI guy,
I'll do that as soon as I get back.
name and number.
And then I wanted to bring up the whole transition on the software with Freecom. I know Vernon's been doing the lion's share of that work from our county. What's the update or the status of that whole?
So the sheriff's office and as well as the sheriff's office in Fremont, along with the fire departments and so forth, we use a program called Omnigo as our CAD, computer aided dispatch software. It helps the dispatchers figure out who to call and where to send them and everything. And then on the back half of the house, that's where we enter our police reports in. And so last year, the CRCA board that runs the Fremont 911 service voted to upgrade to a newer service software package called Tyler. And I do support the position that, but I wasn't here when that decision was made. So Tyler came in and did an initial 3-day meeting with the different stakeholders. And that's when they started giving us these additional, primarily IT tasks to do. And at the very last, some of this is being paid before by a grant. At the last meeting we went to, they said they wanted to charge us $50,000 extra for things that weren't included in the original bid price that this whole group determined to buy. And so I sent an email to the board president, who's Chief Delvecchio from the Canyon City Fire. And I understand that when you buy software packages, sometimes the prices go up or down, but I wanted to know what the red line is if we hit a certain thing, if they would just cancel the whole project and keep what we have. Because as you mentioned, it's a very heavy lift on the IT, especially mapping. And so we have a meeting coming up to figure out what the max is that we're going to pay on that.
Yeah, I was gonna pull up your accounts payable from last week. Looks like you were getting uniforms for officers, is that correct?
Yes.
New uniforms? Are these for new officers or existing officers?
new and existing, replacing one. We wear an external vest and there's a strap that puts tension on the shirt, and over time it just tears through. And so most of the guys' uniforms are damaged in this area.
Well, the posse looked a little sloppy because they're wearing second, are they hand me downs?
Oh, no, they're,
I'm
yeah,
cheap.
so we bought new vests for the posse on last year's budget.
Yeah, that's right.
What was the amount you're looking at on there?
Oh, it looks like one of them was $609. Doesn't say other than just a uniform.
Okay. The bulk of the uniform we actually purchased last year before the end of the year, and the vendor is Blower. And it's a little bit, the shirt is a little bit heavier duty material than what we had in the past.
And then LAWS, is that who installs the?
Yes, sir. And that was,
security stuff? or
they
no?
install the lights and sirens. We provide the police radio and the radar gun. They install it, and that's the invoice that was
Yeah.
left over from 2 years ago.
The 9,000.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I am sure.
And probably the biggest thing that we're gonna be over budget on this year is gonna be fuel again.
It had
It's going down.
a short drop here and now it's going back up.
It's
Seems to
going
okay.
skyrocket.
So I'm telling everyone to just push the neutral when they drive down the Wetmore and try to save gas going downhill. So,
I used to do that
Yeah.
in high school.
From the top of hose of flax, you
Yep.
make it all the way down.
You're going fast enough, you can go all the way glass in,
I guess I might have one
not quite.
relationship with the DA's office. You see they're in the news again. Working, not working.
In fact, the deputy actually just walked by before I sat down here. So they hired a deputy DA, Mark Colbert, and he lives in Summit County. And he's been running our prosecutions here. He's actually leaving, and they've brought a second person in. And I was asked by one of the newspapers how many cases we've had that have been dismissed because of lack of discovery, and I determined 0 at the time of that interview. But I actually just got a notice that a state patrol case up here, which is a felony case called vehicular assault, and the discovery has not been timely in that. So it's not a sheriff case, but I did send a notice to the DA asking if we could hurry that up.
Did Channel 13 call? They called, I got a call.
Yeah.
I just declined it. It was too late to get it.
I didn't make any comments on it. So what the process is that every law enforcement agency in Colorado is required to use a computer program, kind of in the cloud server thing called e-discovery. And so a deputy in Custer County writes a report in this OmniGo reports system. It goes to the sergeant who approves it. It goes to Paula, and then Paula uploads it to the system. Everything in that process is date and time stamped. So it goes to the DA's office, and then the DA hits a button or something that releases it, and then the public defender or the defense attorney can have that. And so that's where I think the state patrol case is stuck in the system.
So they don't really have to do anything other than to prove it on their computer and click a mouse.
Yep. And everything is time and date stamped. And I mean, I believe that if I was a defendant, I would want timely access to my criminal case so I could prepare a good defense. And I
Right,
think
yes. You know,
And I'm assuming the rumor is true that the DA's office was evicted out of their office space in Salida.
wow, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing for office space now, but McCall's told me that, Commissioner from Fremont County.
Wow.
So. Yeah, we pay her 10,000 a month for DA services up here, so hopefully they can get something sorted out. It's ridiculous.
That's all I had.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I meant to ask and forgot.
Before he leaves. I need you to sign this title, and then this is also one of the ones that you guys rejected. So
You
I
get
don't-
to sell it, Rich.
I don't know, yeah, I don't know if,
Did you send out an email, Jennifer, about the actions?
No.
Okay,
I
so
have
you
not.
probably don't know
I
anything
told you
about this.
yeah,
Rick. Nope.
so he doesn't.
I remember this morning when,
Your
So-
car that we didn't sell. Yeah.
Okay.
We rejected some of those bids on the excess equipment. And there was, I don't remember which one it was, I guess I think I got it right here.
Kelly's got it right. in her
With the
hand.
Tahoe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the 06 Dodge.
Yeah.
Oh, 06 Dodge pickup.
I think it was.
I thought it
Yeah.
was a Tahoe.
Yeah, both the pickups sold Durango
And what years were those pickups?
04s.
04. So the pickup that you asked about that was wrecked is probably 5 years older, so like newer, like an 07.
Okay. Yeah, the 2006 Dodge Durango,
And so
we rejected that bid.
after the ones we rejected, we went back then and authorized the department, so you have you can now sell that at your discretion for not less than scrap price.
Okay.
So
All right, well, I'm gonna sell it for $80,000 because that's how much I need for a new one.
There
So
you
that
go.
could-
You can get it. We're gonna have you sell all of it.
One of my friends is a car dealer. He probably could do it. So
Thank you.
You betcha. Have a good day. Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
So, Rich, do you want me to just hang on to this typo until you decide what to do with it, or, okay? I can do that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And do I owe you any other titles?
No, I think we're good right now. I think, yes.
Have a good day. Yeah. Have a good day.
Braden is sick. He sent a note.
in his note, he says he did not have much to report for last month, but he would like to talk to us about the survey presentation. It'll probably be, it's not quite ready to come to us. And he would like to set up a workshop to go over the first quarter financials for the county. And he would also like to set up a workshop in regards to the VSO position.
Executive session.
Okay.
He said, yeah, the workshop.
He would like a workshop for that, and but before the workshop, he would like to have an
Yeah.
executive session.
So how about the executive session tomorrow?
I did already have Jennifer do that, so.
Okay.
When
so
I got
we're
the
on for
email,
tomorrow.
we are on for tomorrow. And
Personnel issues.
so I just had her modify the executive session and had her make it executive sessions for personnel.
We had more than one.
We already had one on the agenda for tomorrow. And
And then
then
we
we
wait and schedule a workshop when we have him here.
I think so. It sounds like he's planning on being here tomorrow,
Yeah.
so we could have that discussion then.
Didn't want to rush it, he says. Everybody says.
So, and that is all that I have from him. Vince, I guess you would be up, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm good, sorry.
Thanks.
Tripped you over the chair there.
Hey, your airport will be done today.
So, look great, boys. I told Kevin to tell you thanks.
and so.
Thanks.
So if you want gravel, if you decide to,
No,
go
we
gra-
don't want,
well, I'll give you the price. It's gonna cost you $1,000 for gravel.
we don't want a lot. We don't want any.
So- Already priced it, so that's what it costs you. We lost another pickup, so it's down the hill already. It's the one that Aztec worked on. I backed it out of the shop Monday and it was leaking transmission fluid. So the mechanic said it's coming out the vent on top of the tranny, so.
overfilled or what?
No, there was no fluid in it, it leaked out, so that's a pressure problem according to Aztec.
Bad rings,
Huh?
bad rings.
I have no
Bad
idea
engine.
what's wrong with the transmission, so it's down in Kangen.
Which one is that?
The 350.
Who drives it?
Everybody, all the guys drive it.
So it had just come back.
No, we've been using it for a while. We're crack sealing. So we're down to 2 pickups. Because the service truck's in the shop too, it lost the fuel pump.
The backhoe that was out at the landfill,
We're using it, we're double dutying.
Huh?
We're using it so we can get the culverts done quicker, 2 teams.
you'll have it for a while.
Well, if you need it, we can bring it back.
Well, I can take mine out there. I need to backfill that office and. Get it
Haul it out there to you, we're not using it
No.
right now.
Oh, you're not?
Mhm.
I don't want you to take it off the job. I could drive mine out there if I needed to, but
Well, me and Scott just get 2 teams going when the weather's nice, so we can get things accomplished a little faster.
I hate for you to haul it out there. I hadn't talked to Brian. I will today about maybe using that loader too. We could use it just to backfill that foundation, whatever you think's.
Foundations at the recycle.
Yeah, for the office building.
Other than that, everything's going good.
And you got word that we rejected.
Mhm. I'm gonna put the road groom on Purple Wave auction site. That auction site does not charge government entities any percentage to sell it. So I haven't done, I'll do that today.
We put a minimum bid on it.
Yep.
And we did reject the trailer. Wetmore,
Yeah, the
Yes.
3-axle trailer.
Yeah.
We rejected it. So,
Yeah, the road groom when it was bought was 15.3, brand new. So,
we didn't think we should be selling it for $700.
no, I don't think so either.
Is that trailer down in,
No, it's up here.
is it in the yard?
Yeah,
Okay, I had a guy call me about that, so,
it's sold.
oh, it did.
Yep,
How much you sell that for?
$1,000. Scrap
And who
price,
bought it?
Garrett. Workers. At work, Garrett,
Oh,
scrap price is $525.
Garrett at work is in Benish.
Yes.
Okay.
He already paid for it.
Don't blame him.
said scrap was 5 what?
$525.
So you just have the road groomer.
Yeah, I'll take care of that on Purple Wave,
Yeah, I think that's. Makes a lot of sense.
because that'll be this, not here in West Cliff, it'll be
Right.
nationwide or statewide. And he comes down and takes pictures and gets all the information. He or she.
Didn't that pull behind roller from Wetmore? He went to Silver Cliff, didn't it?
The what?
That. Wheel packer, the roller.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what,
That was a year or 2 ago.
yeah, I don't know what Garrett sold that for. It was parts.
We got it on the agenda, for tomorrow. Consider, naming a roadway if we vote to do that. Can you get us signs or?
Yes, we can make them.
Okay.
Yep,
And posts,
yes,
inserts,
yes.
or sleeves in this case.
How we getting suggested roads?
We're gonna deal with that tomorrow,
I know.
It's on the agenda.
Is there
Yeah.
some proposed or?
tomorrow.
Yeah, they want today.
The only thing we're behind on is my crusher unit guy hasn't showed up yet, so I don't know what's going on. He was supposed to be up here last week, and I'll call him Thursday and see what's going on.
You're getting down to scraping.
We have
scraping
no
the bottom.
gravel left. It's that pile you guys want me to get rid of, it's gone.
Okay. So you screening some until he shows up?
Yes,
You've been training guys on the bush hogs,
on what?
on the brush hogs.
On the
How to
mowers?
Set them up, mowers,
Yes,
check them out, check the checklist.
no. Are you talking about the airport one or the road?
The airport and.
No, I haven't
all
had
of them.
Well, I haven't had time to show the guys at the airport.
Oh, neighbor, those guys that you would, or
Yes,
somebody.
Chip seal?
I'm getting another quote.
Okay.
I think that guy's a little high. Maybe not. I have an email from another company I have to take care of today or tomorrow.
Is that the one that bought that Coke?
It's a company in Walsenburg.
Pad site for that was 2 storage containers at recycle. What would it take to get that site prepared?
What are you gonna set them on railroad ties in the dirt surface?
Dirt surface, yeah.
Probably haul some naturals in, and then once we get our roller going, we can wet it down and pack it, then set it on railroad ties. Is that what you're planning?
Hadn't planned on setting it on ties, no.
Just setting it on a hard dirt surface?
Yeah, or concrete pier,
Railroad ties are cheaper.
yeah.
There's a bunch of bridge timbers down at Wetmore, right? They're still there?
I don't know how many's left.
I have a few bridge timbers on top of the hill.
You could have Kurt take a look and see, but I don't remember if there's any of the much of the big ones left that we're using.
Cause those will never rot.
Yeah, I guess look to you for recommendation about
Yeah,
that.
just put some level it with a grader, then put
3
some,
of them.
put naturals down, pack it in with a roller and set those timbers level, then set the buildings on them.
We want those containers at ground level.
Well, we can
We
dig
have to bury
the
those
bridge
timbers.
timbers into the ground.
Okay. Makes sense.
I'll have to look and see how many we got. So is there's 2 containers?
Yep.
And you want 3?
I would think one on each end and one in the middle,
Okay, 6.
horizontal or perpendicular.
And they're 8 feet wide, correct?
Pardon?
They're 8 feet wide.
There might be some people down there that would work.
We can just put bridge timbers.
Ship container's only 8 feet across.
Yes.
I'll follow up with you on that then.
Okay.
That's all
You
right.
guys gonna do it yourself or you gonna, okay,
Well, with maybe some friends' help from Bridge.
okay. We're fixing to get busy, so that's
Yeah.
why we're getting that
I
airport.
think we can move it without loader that's out there, don't you, if they're empty? Just slide them
Yeah,
or drag them.
drag them.
And then, I assume if we did the railroad ties or bridge timbers, just drag them up onto it, if we got them packed in.
Yeah.
I will convey that message to their board next week.
Anything else?
No,
Okay,
thank you. Appreciate it.
yep,
Sure.
you later.
Thanks again.
yep.
We now have an extension.
Next
planning and
victim.
zoning.
I was just looking at that.
How are you?
Is that a new department?
So are you from extension or planning and zoning?
I didn't know for sure.
What
I'm planning and
extension
zoning
plan?
today.
We have a new department there?
Please don't add any more on
Yeah,
my plate.
it's a new department.
It's extension planning and zoning.
Uh-huh. It's an extension.
Oh,
yeah.
it is.
Sorry for the typo.
Not a problem.
That extension was there first, evidently.
I knew what it meant.
We swapped times and then I didn't hit delete, so please forget.
Okay, well, we had a good March.
I'm gonna run through the numbers a little bit. We did a total of 16 septic inspections. So I've been running 7 special conferences, and that what falls into that has been falling into that is the SUPs. We've had a couple SUPs come through that we're looking at, STRs as well as lot line adjustments, things like that. And they come in and want some guidance or whatever, and we sit down and discuss that with them. Compliance inspections, we've done 6 on dwellings that have been completed. And violation reviews, which is, I'm seeing a lot more of that. We send a letter out to somebody, they come in and they're wanting to discuss what they can do to rectify the issue. So we've sent out quite a few letters, and I'll kind of go through that here in a little bit. Last year compared to this year, we're up 7 septic permits. I really was thinking maybe with the economy that our dwelling permits would go down, but we issued 16 so far this year. So we're up 10 compared to last year. Part of that may be the good weather.
Sorry, is that permits issued during this month or is that?
It's-
Okay, so it's
to the-
March from 2022
for
to
the
March
year.
of 2020.
Yeah.
To the year or just March?
Just up through.
And do I have my,
The 20.
which one are you looking at? Sorry.
Well, summary of planning and zoning.
22 to all 6.
Does
for
it
the
say
year.
March at the top, March
It says
2021?
March.
Yeah,
Okay, that's just,
That's just in one.
so March of
Well,
2022.
okay, you're right.
And March of 2023.
sorry, I'm miscommunicating to you.
So
Yes.
Um,
Dorothy,
16 permits in March. of this
Correct,
year.
compared to 9
Okay,
last
all
year
right, yeah,
in March.
okay.
and
you're
16
correct.
dwelling. And 6.
Absolutely. So a total of 34 compared to 26 last year. So really, the thing that I'm seeing is our dwelling permits are not going down. I was really thinking they would, and we're not seeing a slowdown in that at all. Septic permits are up. We've been busy.
Okay.
So
your permit. Total zoning permits, you say is 34,
correct.
but you have 16, 16, and 18 listed there. You don't count the septic permits.
I looked at that this morning. Yeah, it's not counted in there.
Okay.
It's just the zoning
Okay.
permits, not the
Gotcha.
septic.
All right.
It kind of threw me off when I was adding things up this morning.
So we don't consider a septic permit as part of a zoning permit. That's good.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
On this report.
Yeah.
And my reports may be changing here within the next 2 months. We're working on doing reports through iWork. So I'm gonna share a little bit with you today, but I'm not at the point where I'm ready to say, here's our new reporting structure, and this is what I'll be showing you going forward. We're waiting on, just to jump ahead a little bit, and I apologize, but iWork is kind of at a standstill until I get the credit card processing going, and that should be done by the end of the week, so we'll be up and ready to go. Issued year to date, we've done 28 septic permits. Dwelling permits are up 14 from last year overall. Non-dwellings or accessory buildings are down a little bit, and then overall zoning permits, not including the septic permits, are up 9 for the year compared to last year. Our financials, if you look at them, the zoning permit fees were up from last year, 29,000, almost $30,000. The septic permit fees were up about just right at $4,000. The use tax is up 46.5. And our total income has increased from last year. We're 76,000, almost $77,000 higher than last year.
Well,
And that next part kind of is redundant. It's redundant from the other sheet, so we'll skip that. So far, we have logged into our iWork system that we've notified 124 residents of violations, and that's mainly, there's maybe 2 or 3 from December, a handful from January, most of this is February and March. We so far have been able to close out 8 of those violations. And we're working towards closing out an additional 25. I'm not getting a lot of response back from the letters that I'm sending out. So I'm really trying to look at ways that I can encourage our landowners to call us and start working with us. Those that come in, I'm usually able to work with them. And we're able to rectify the situation. Sometimes it's just extending a permit for them. Sometimes
You have a copy of that?
I didn't, I'm sorry. I can get you
No,
guys
not right
that.
now. I'll get it later. Just
Okay.
listen to
I can get you that. I didn't know what data to pull. It's a new report. And so I was pulling some of the data out and just kind of summarized a little bit for you. But I can get you a copy of this. If you'd like.
Oh, wait till you're.
Yeah.
Live.
Eventually, I'll be able to tell you how many violations were due to what infraction, if you will. So I'll break it down to that eventually. And I did not run this report until after, so oops, wrong one.
Better keep your notes.
Yeah, better hang on to those. This is just the overall financial showing you where we're at month to month for the year.
Yeah, we've got those.
We
You
did
got
get
those?
them.
Okay, she added them
Yeah.
for me this morning. Okay, great. So just it's kind of redundant to what I just talked about, but total year to date, our overall revenue or income is at 144,448. Let me rephrase what I just said. That includes the septic, state septic. So we're really at 143,928.
Right.
If we stay at that rate, I'm thinking we will more than double our income. That's not
Okay.
including a busy month, so.
Yeah, in the long term, it'll be interesting if we could do an analysis between that special use tax revenue. I don't know if we'd be able to do that or not, but
An
in the years
analysis,
previous, what we actually collected, what was remitted to Custer County as use tax, and obviously we'll have a record of what we collected ourselves this year. Right. I think there was a lot of money left on the table for purchases made out of town that we never got remitted back to.
People weren't doing
You buy something in Pueblo County, the tax stays there.
They just-
Right.
they just,
So, I doubt we'll ever
Last
really be
couple
able
years.
to accurately track what happened before, but.
I can look at that. I don't know if that's something you guys would like
the
me to
taxes were
do.
paid in Pueblo County, we'd never probably get a record of that.
Probably not.
I think you could get an estimate based on the amount of revenue that we brought in on permits.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I probably could come up with something.
It'd be close, yeah. On to the next thing, just kind of a little bit of an update on the workshop. Our workshop with the planning commission redoing or looking at changes to the resolution, I believe is going very, very well. We've had 2 different workshops and have still a couple things that we're kind of bouncing around before we bring that to you. There's been a lot of very productive conversation within the group. I think we've not only come to some great suggestions for you all, but we've also kind of, in my mind, at least my opinion, kind of started building our relationships a little bit more in that process. So that really excites me.
I've heard it's good news.
Yeah. One of the things that I suggested to them, and they're sending me to you or asking me to bring it to your attention, is to adds a step in our process. When I send out a violation to a resident, basically right now how it's sent is we do an investigation to determine that the complaint or the supposed violation is a true violation. And sometimes that's driving out there and looking at the actual site. Sometimes I get pictures, it just depends. Then I send them 2 letters if it is a true violation. I send them a regular letter by mail and a certified letter. And in there, it tells them what the violation is, what needs to be done to correct the violation, and that they have 30 days to correct that violation. If they contact me back, I normally give them, whatever time they need to fix that. I mean, if it's a non-septic violation, I'm going to give them more than 30 days to get a septic installed. So anyway, if for whatever reason they don't respond to that letter or they don't correct it, currently the resolution says that I need to jump right into a cease and desist. Well, in some cases that may be in my opinion, the proper way to go. But if it's just a simple violation, am I going to go cease and desist that property? I don't know that that's the step that we want to take. If we have 75 of my 124 letters that we sent out recently that have not responded, and it's going on 30 days for several of them, am I going to go out and just immediately start doing cease and desist orders? I don't know that that's.
Could be reasons why, right? They may not be in town or they're gone for this winter or whatever.
Well, the reason we send out 2 letters is one is certified that they have to sign for, and the other one's a regular mail. And the way that I've understood from the post office is if I don't get that regular mail back, they got that letter. That's why we do 2. So these people, they're getting their letters. If they're not getting their letters, we're closing, or if we can't locate them, that's not added into this.
No, what I meant
Never.
by that, Dorothy, was there may be a circumstance after they get the letter, they can't comply within 30 days for some logical reason.
But
that, the step that you're saying you need to look at to understand if it, like you just said, you give them more time to fix something that's.
right. And on that letter, it asks them to contact our office upon receipt of the letter. So they should at least be making a phone call to us to say, hey, I'm out of town.
Right.
Can I look at fixing this in the spring when I come for vacation, or whatever the situation may be. These are ones that just have blatantly not responded one way or another. So I guess what I would like to suggest is to add a step in here, and knowing that we don't currently have an attorney. I'm not sure how that structure is going to be. I'm trying to look at ways that I may not need the support of an attorney quite as much. So in that thought, I was thinking if we added a violation to, not a violation, but a penalty of some type, a monetary fine, which a lot of counties do. I'm not trying to say we need to be like everybody else, but I'm just saying it may, if I seen that I had a fine that I needed to pay, that may alert me a little bit more. And I would put in that letter, if the fine in the violation is not corrected and paid within a certain amount of time, we will be issuing a lien. I can issue a lien on their property easier than without an attorney, easier than I could say when Clint was here, we were doing a lis pendens. A lis pendens basically stops the sale of a property by any means. It's a lot more invasive from a court perspective. And a lien would simply be, something attached to their title of their property. So
it could be something as simple as if you don't respond to us, you may face a fine of X. Right, that's what you're proposing.
well, I'm kind of
Something
proposing that you violated this. This is the fine.
You said that one of the things you asked them to do is get back to your office, but they're not.
They're
So
not.
that they need to understand if you don't get back and respond, then you will be fined. I mean, you need some encouragement to get them to respond to you first
Right.
of all, sounds like.
Yep. And I can set that structure up anyway. It can be at the time that I send out the letter or when they come in, I'm fine with that. I just needs something a little bit more to encourage individuals to
Mhm.
respond and or don't make the violation in the first place. I mean, a lot of it is you know, how, here's one of the concerns that I'm running against right now. But I have still a lot of properties out there with no septics. I'm sending out letters to these individuals and a lot of them are not replying whatsoever. Some of them reply and they say, I don't stay up there. Well, if you're gonna, and majority of these people who are not complying are individuals out of our county. So this is a second home to them or a vacation home or whatever. But in my opinion, those individuals, all individuals should be held accountable to make sure that their property is up to par with our resolution. It, for me to just say, oh, I only stay in there 1 or 2 nights, or I don't even sleep in there. So that because of that, I don't need to put in a septic. I don't agree with that. I think if we're gonna hold our residents accountable, we need to hold everybody accountable.
So to move along then,
Okay.
you're gonna come up with some proposal for us to consider, is what you're saying.
Yes, and I guess I will do that and add that to our suggestions to the work.
Yeah, probably needs to come from the planning
Planning
commission.
commission.
And they're
Right.
telling me it needs to come from you guys if we do.
Well, the
if we do
decision,
penalties.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you need to
Okay.
run the options,
Recommendation.
get a recommendation.
I will do that.
Yeah,
I think they just wanted me to run it by you to see if that was even a viable option.
yeah, I think we
So,
gotta do something, man,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
are just thumbing their nose at us and,
Okay,
you know, and I'm
Or
assuming.
they're
you're
saying their
having-
grandfather.
not even that. They're just arguing the
those, yeah.
fact. I mean, I've got some pretty nasty emails recently and it's just, you know, the majority of the individuals either don't reply or,
Right.
you know, they fix it. They
Mhm.
call up and they work with me and I work with them. However, we're getting more and more opposition, so.
And I'm
Yes, and I'm-
assuming that planning commission would consider levying some fines for someone who just absolutely ignores the directives from the resolution, build a second dwelling
Yeah.
without a permit or whatever. $50 fine ain't gonna get it for that.
Right.
So I think they need to take a hard look at this.
What the penalties ought to
Uh,
What's that?
be. They ought to look at what kind of penalties that would be
Yes.
for different levels of.
And I'll make up some suggestions and at this point, I don't know if we're gonna meet again, but I can definitely communicate with all of them through email and get their feedback. So that's kind of how we've been handling some of it, so.
I kind of like, I think what I heard Bill saying a minute ago. That, you know, like the ones that have called in and you can rectify it over the phone or they come in and fix it right away. Those, if they take care of the problem and do that. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence there, you know, I think the fine should come in if they don't respond or they blatantly don't
Right.
fix the problem. If they,
Take it
maybe
on.
they weren't aware they were in violation, or maybe they
Right.
were, a lot of them are.
Yeah,
And until they get caught and they're innocent until they're guilty, but, but then if they'd go ahead and come in right away and fix it, I think that would be the end of it. If after that step is when I think I would feel more comfortable levying the fine. I don't think we should slap a fine on somebody just arbitrarily. You know, I can see both sides of that, but I think if they're willing to come in and work and take care of the situation. Unless it's somebody, you know, somebody comes in and builds a house and then asks for forgiveness, there's a penalty for that. But on
Right.
some of these smaller violations or something like that, where you're talking about doing the fine. I can see both sides of it. I think I'd be more comfortable
doing
if
it,
they didn't want to work with you, then that's when the fine gets levied and then you
okay,
can go with that lien route or whatever. I think that would probably be beneficial.
that'll work.
That's just me personally speaking.
And I think there's a way we can put that in the letter to say, you know, if response is not, make an effort to come forth and fix the issues, or additional penalties will apply, and we could even say, this is what the penalty will be.
And I don't know how these two gentlemen would fall on that either, but, you know, that'd be a question when we go to decide that, I guess.
Yeah, come up with, yeah.
I will work on that. That's kind of my report for the month.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, you might go ahead and just stay seated there if you want, because, I don't have any unfinished business. Do you, gentlemen?
No, sir.
So that takes us to our new business, which would be, the first item would be the consideration of the Namath STR.
And we did meet at the planning commission on the 6th of March. The vote for that STR was not unanimous. We had 5 yeas and 1 nay. There was conditions on that recommendation to approve. The conditions included to confirm the property boundaries, that they're adequately marked, confirm parking areas marked, provide an update on the house map. And I think that was just showing the individual rooms in there. And then provide a updated house rules. There was some typos and things that needed to be put into the house rules, and she did do that. The voting results that are listed there for you to look at. We just had the 1 nay.
Can you speak to those inconsistencies that was mentioned in the nay vote?
That was Carol. I think in talking to Carol, what she meant by that was, and I caught this as well, the applicant was in her presentation kind of all over the place, talking about I'll be there on the weekend, come up and have coffee with me anytime, making that invite to the planning commission, because I'm there on the weekends finishing the house, doing construction. However, I think Carol thought the majority of her STR rentals would be on the weekend. So she was just a little kind of felt a little uncomfortable with the way that the presentation was made and the way it was verbalized. Since that time, and due to those inconsistencies that I noticed myself, and the fact that she kept referring to being at the house working, I did do a site tour, and that are the additional pictures that you have in your packet. I did share this information with the planning commission before bringing this to the board, and they were all unanimously agreed. They all agreed that the poor conditions of the site, if they had known that, they would not have made their recommendation.
So you're saying that the planning commission did not do a site tour before?
We don't do site tours.
STR, they don't.
They're scheduled if they feel that they need them. We have not been doing site tours.
So I was just checking, I don't see any language in the short-term rental section that their structure needs to be completed. Obviously, we don't have certificates of occupancy, but can they put can they get an application approved without having the quote unquote short-term rental completed? It looks like we're getting ready to set that precedent here today.
They need to have their compliance letter, and she does. You can get that with your electrical and plumbing finals. She has those.
Who issued the compliance letter? Us?
Yes.
Your office?
Yeah. And that I can issue a compliance letter based on the state that that's in. However, I feel that if we approve this, and so did the planning commission when I brought it up to them after they had made their initial vote, that if the county were to approve this, that we could potentially be liable if someone were to get hurt.
So it's not complete. It's not clear. What needs to be fixed? Is it construction stuff? Is stuff in the way? Is it?
Yeah, there's, in my opinion, the stairs going into the entrance of the house and almost all areas, but the front are not complete. It's more like construction steps. And we
Right,
all
so
know,
it's just the construction's not finished. is it?
correct.
And did the planning commission know that when they?
They did not know that when they
No,
made
no,
the
you
original.
said that, you said they knew that the permit, the compliance can be granted and the construction can finish. That's what you said a minute ago. So then the board knew that. So I'm confused.
Well, they knew that the compliance letter had been given to them.
Because the plumbing and the.
And the
had
electric
been
finals
approved.
were
So they-
finished.
So they knew that it hadn't been buttoned up though. Is that
They
true?
did not know that the state of the property.
Or when the occupancy was actually going to occur. Or when she was gonna start renting.
I'm not understanding the
Well,
question.
Did she have the impression when she left the building that she has a short-term rental, if this goes through today, she could start renting tomorrow?
Yes,
That was what she understood.
if she did if she
Even
did
though-
the conditions that were,
Okay, and
the additional
says
conditions.
Boundaries, mark, update, but it doesn't say complete the construction.
no, because we didn't know that it was in that state.
That's what I'm
May I
asking.
speak?
Who's that?
This is
Uh,
Lori Nemeth. You're the one who's talking about my property now. There's 4 entrances and they are all well steps. However, the deck to the
Just a
master where
second, ma'am.
there's,
Just a second. I'll give you an opportunity here in just a minute.
thank you so much,
gonna
sir, and
ask
I'm
if-
so sorry to interrupt, but
I'm gonna,
it's just
I'm gonna let-
incorrect.
okay, I'm gonna let our planning and zoning director finish, and then I will let you speak. All right,
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
thank you. I appreciate the cooperation there.
Did I answer your
Yeah,
question?
so the point is. Apparently the construction's not finished, and so it's not able to be occupied safely.
Correct.
That's the planning commission's view. Is that, when you sent that around, did everybody agree to that? Everyone?
Yes, I brought it up in the workshop that we had, I believe, on the first Monday of March, I believe.
Then why didn't we pull this? Why present it to us?
That's what they recommended, right?
It was
Why would
already
they want to-
recommended.
They
So-
recommend, they still recommended going forward with it, because they could have pulled it then.
I'm sorry.
The recommendation from the planning commission was prior to knowledge of the condition of the
Correct.
construction, correct?
Correct. And I brought it up in the workshop because I didn't want them to feel like I felt that this was information that you deserved to have
Sure.
in order to make your decision. And none of us knew this information.
And they
So
have.
I brought it up to them and-
since then, so they couldn't make a decision to withdraw the,
Correct.
excuse me.
But they were in the workshop.
We were in a workshop. They
But
couldn't make a
they're-
decision. I just wanted to make sure that they knew I was gonna give you these pictures.
Well. It's my own personal opinion. I think they could have said, why would we want to push it forward? Or should we make sure Dorothy says, if we'd have known this, don't want you to approve it? So
But they can't make those
They
decisions
can't make a
in a
decision.
workshop,
Right.
so they had to have another meeting.
they could have called a quick meeting if they wanted, but what they're doing now is just letting us. Make the decision to turn it down.
They're providing you guys the complete information to make your decision.
Okay,
And I think at a higher level here, I think this indicates that we have an issue in the short-term rental process. Let's put this STR application aside for a minute. If somebody gets an electrical and a plumbing inspection and you give them a compliance inspection letter, they could get an STR and not have a floor in a building, right? You don't care if they have a floor in it or not. You're saying you complied with the electrical and the plumbing. So that's a huge hole.
That's right.
Um,
Planning commission has,
and it, especially if we're down to one slot, we have two applicants. Hypothetically, one's completed structure ready to rent and the other one's still under construction. Doesn't make sense to me. So I think we need to look at the resolution to say you must have a completed structure habitable at the time you apply.
Yeah.
But that's back to the zoning.
or you're
zoning
right,
resolution.
or you handle it, it's in construction and it will make it if it does X, Y, and Z, and there may be a reason to approve it on those grounds, but that's a planning commission decision on how to write the resolution or the.
And I'll
How
bring
they
that
want
up
to
to them
comply.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the landowner has to say here in a little bit, but I just don't think we should be approving short-term rental permits on, I'll call them residences that aren't completed and ready
Yeah.
for occupancy.
I think we've created a big rush for everybody to get their applications in, because we'll be full
Right,
in zone 4.
right.
If this is approved, zone 4 is completely full.
Right.
So I
And
think
it's-
we're pushing everybody to get things done
Right.
in some cases before they're ready.
And I think I'd like to see the planning commission consider doing site tour by committee or by a representative from the planning commission to go look at these properties.
And I think that maybe that's where I need to just send out the invitation, and if whoever wants to come can come.
You know, play devil's advocate, I put myself on the landowner side, you wouldn't want to develop a place for STR and start building it unless you knew it could comply at the end of construction. So there ought to be some consideration on how do you do that so that you can make sure that everybody's got a fair playing field. That's a discussion for the planning commission later. And that's not for here, but something needs to be done.
Now's the time to do it. We're making the
Yeah,
changes.
absolutely. While we're in the middle of revising this.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna build an STR on a speculation of that you're gonna get a permit, that's risk you take.
Yep.
We're not obligated to give a permit just
No.
because you come up here and built a house and you wanna make a short-term rental out of it.
And that does state that in the resolution.
But I sure think the building should be completed and occupant ready before we ever put out short-term rental permit, but that's my.
Let's see what they say.
You
I'm
guys
good.
have anything else for Dorothy before I let Mrs. Namath talk?
Nope.
Okay, Mrs. Namath,
Yes, sir.
you can address the issue here now if you would like.
Thank you so much. We started building in 2018. The back where the master bedroom is, where it appears with the construction steps, she's absolutely correct. There's a deck being, will be built there. It is not complete landscaping, etc. However, the inside has been completed completely and has been for 2 years. And I've got appraisals from the construction loans, from the mortgage that we have, and pictures of the inside. I was hesitant about, because the deck had not been done, or the breezeway. Sometimes up in Westcliff, we've used all Westcliff laborers and contractors, etc., to do the build, including excavation and everything. And sometimes it's 6 months, a year to get anybody up to the property. This was not an intent for a short-term rental. This was intended for my dream home. We designed it, and I presented that to the board as well, or to the Planning and Zoning Commission. However, because of the delay with COVID and building, etc., I had to delay my retirement. And I have a brick and mortar in Colorado Springs and my home here. I had to delay my retirement by 2 years. I did invite the Planning and Zoning to come by and see the inside, the outside, everything, whatever, so they could determine. I invited all of them for a site visit. And of course, I'm there on weekends to stain, etc. And of course, to have a cup of coffee. It was never an intent. I started going up to West Cliff in 2000. I fell in love with it. We bought the property and we built our dream home. However, I cannot retire right now. The construction steps that she's denoting is absolutely correct. There's 3 steps going into the master bedroom. However, there is beautiful built steps and walkways in the front on the side of the walkway going to double doors. There's the 3 decks. On the other side, in the front, we built the house backwards so it would face the Sangre. That way, my great room, I could do dishes and see the view. That was my dream, and that's what I got. There's beautiful steps going up to the 12 by 52 foot deck in the front. Does it need to be, pressure washed? Sure. It's been in construction for 4 years, 5 years, and with scaffolding, etc., putting up all of our tongue and groove. It's got marred a little. The place is habitable. It's had plumbing, electric, water, countertops, tile, floors. It's completely stocked with dishes. You could live there. However, are there still things that I need to do? Yes. I need to put rods in the closets. I need to hang up some more mirrors in the bathroom. And if this is contingent upon a site visit, I understand that. I am not in a rush that this has to be rented tomorrow. If it's going to be rented next month, that's fine. My intent was not to leave my home, my dream home, unoccupied, abandoned. I can't do that. I can't just spend my life savings to build something and have it sit there empty where people could come and vandal or kids party or whatever the case may be. Whatever your decisions are, I do respect that. I don't think I was in a rush for this. I don't know. If you have questions to ask me, please do. The breezeway, what is not finished on the exterior is a breezeway going from the double garage to the laundry room and the back deck into the master bedroom. So Dorothy is correct.
This is Tom Flower. How do you pronounce your last name?
Nemeth, sir.
Nemeth.
Lori
Okay.
Nemeth, yes.
Nemeth. All right, Ms. Nemeth. So you're telling us that the home is habitable in its current condition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And I see the application talks about a detached garage. That's currently a detached garage, but your intent is to attach that to your house.
Yes, there'd be a breezeway there. So, we can go from the garage into the workshop, and there's a separate door to the workshop as well, into the house. But it doesn't matter who we've contacted there. I could give you 15 names of contractors up there, handymen, people that we've contacted in West Cliff that have agreed to do such projects, but they're just behind. They are just too far behind. Same with the water. It took 2.5 years to get the water in,
Is this zone 4? Last slot available for 2023?
Yep.
3 bedrooms. 6 people. For the septic.
Yes.
I might ask, I believe there's a couple of members from the planning commission. It's online. I didn't know. I would ask if they had anything that they might want to contribute to this. Anyone from the planning commission?
This
Is
is
there-
Mary Mallory. I can speak a little.
Go ahead, Mary.
I think that when Dorothy brought up to us specifically the condition on the stairs, our biggest concern was liability. So I believe that if that was remedied, that moving forward wouldn't be a problem.
But it was not a condition at the time you made the recommendation to approve, correct?
Correct, because we were not aware.
Gotcha, thank you.
So I would propose.
Go ahead, Bill.
Thanks, ma'am, for your input, I understand, and thank you, Planning Commission. I would propose that, again, and also I noticed everybody was pleased to see that Charlie was the property manager, and he wouldn't take on, I know him personally, and so do we all, and he's got a very professional business to make sure these properties are top-notch and able to pass muster. So therefore, I think that for the lack of the conditions, I would move to approve this application, provided another stipulation be added, a condition, and that would be condition E would be to complete the deck steps and cleanup to ensure safety issues are met prior to occupancy, or however we want to say the let it go. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I would second that motion. I think it does make sense. We can have some discussion.
That will take us to discussion then. So
May I interject something?
I will allow, yes.
Thank you. Charlie's been to the house a couple times, and I got to tell you, and if you know him, you can confer with him on this. I told him I still want to put a little trim here, and I'd like to do this. And he said, Lori, it's beautiful. This place is gorgeous. You might pinpoint these certain little things that you'd like to do because it's your dream home, but it's available to rent as we speak. So, if you'd like to ask Charlie, the conditions of the inside, I've got pictures if you'd like to see them. Yes, I have staining cans out because I'm staining. There's certain things that I have because it's not completely cleaned, ready for tenants, and that's fine. Like I said, even if it's 2 or 3 months before we have somebody, then I understand. I do. I understand it's got to be not any kind of hazard, there, especially when, people will be there.
Or if I may.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Ms. Neiman, would I be correct in making the assumption that all of your decks are surrounded by the appropriate railing and?
Yes, for the last 4 years. Yes. All
Thank you.
rails, stairs to the side decks. I just added an overhang a year ago because when it was built, there was only 2-foot eaves rather than 4 feet. However, when you're walking down.
I'm just asking about the railing on the stairs and the decks.
Yes, sir.
They're complete.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Can I say something? When you drive up, you don't drive up to the front, you drive up to the back. This is what you drive
That'd
up
be the most,
to. This is where they're gonna
probably the most
enter.
traffic feature.
There's no railings,
Right.
there's nothing there.
Nobody's arguing that, and it needs, and like I said.
I just want to make sure you understood.
But even without it being in the front, it matters that needs to be completed, I think. So it's a good point.
So Mrs. Nemeth, I'm looking at a picture, and I'm going to say that this is the sliding doors going into your master bedroom. I've got a tarp. I'm going to assume that's covering deck material.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Tarps
And
everywhere.
then these steps, and I believe these steps here are the ones that have been brought to our attention. Because they're not the full width of the opening of the door. no railing, no anything there.
Correct.
Which I think would be an issue. Again, also because they're also driving up to that side of the house, whether or not that's the ingress egress, I don't know. Because I don't, you may be making them go around to the other side, but once somebody's in there, they can surely use that door. So thank you for letting me know what that was I was looking at there.
And to the left of that, maybe 5 feet are beautiful stairs going to the walkway.
But they do have railings on them. I'm more concerned about whether they're railing than whether they're beautiful or not. Do they have
Yes,
railings?
sir. They're all railed, yes, sir, and balustered, wooden rails, yes, sir.
Back to the point again, this additional condition does state that it would be all decks, steps, cleanup issues to ensure safety are met. And so, and that would be prior to occupant, prior to renting, or however you want to state it. So I think we're good. I'm good. I'm speaking for me.
Do you, Ms. Nana, do you have?
I'm sorry.
Okay, do you have commercial propane there?
We do. We have Norup.
Doesn't matter who it is to me, just I saw that one little propane bottle sitting there. And it made me want to ask if you do have propane to the house.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't have a problem with this. The problem goes way beyond this, right? It's our lack of having direction and clear, concise requirements in that zoning resolution, in my opinion. So I think that we've got to clean that up internally so that we don't have this. What if somebody didn't have the decks? There's nothing in the zoning resolution say you couldn't rent this, right? So I just think we need to internally deal with
Figure
that.
out what that means.
Right, yeah.
You don't see that? Give me this.
I don't think it's fair to torture these applicants because our zoning resolution section or short-term rental section of the zoning resolution may not be as complete as it should be. I wouldn't support renting or approving this if the house wasn't finished. If it wasn't habitable. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, but we have to take the landowner's word that it is habitable. I'm assuming that it sounds like she probably wouldn't rent this until those little projects are done and the
Well,
property.
yeah, and that goes along with what we've done approved on everybody. You give them conditions, they get confirmed somehow.
Yeah.
Or we don't allow it.
Well, yeah, that's a great point too.
So there you
know.
go. If that's a whole,
Back
then
to,
how do you confirm it?
right.
And I would think for sure, I know that a professional guy like Charlie's agency is not gonna let it go unless it is. But there may be somebody that doesn't have Charlie or somebody like that, and so. That's why those conditions are important, they have to be met. And maybe that's a final walkthrough by somebody off of the zoning office or wherever that they decide to make that little stipulation.
Annual inspection to go back and see that the
Sure.
conditions were met.
So I'm good to
Typically,
move
the
on.
conditions are met prior to, right, or
Yeah.
during the process, but not always, so.
I think our whole thing, like Mary said, was worried that something could happen, someone could get hurt and.
Right,
And that's where my concern lies, just for lack of anything else or any other pictures, this one particular entrance. I almost would feel more comfortable if we waited until this was addressed, but I know your motion addresses that. So that's my take on that.
But we're holding, if it, as she stated, it's taking a long time to get contractors up there for holding this slot for 4 months. That's 4 months. Somebody else could have had that slot.
Madam Clerk, could you read the motion again?
No, I could not,
Okay.
because I was gonna ask you to
That's-
actually
I have
Come on.
all except for the
Right.
conditions
Yeah.
that you,
I
the
will-
added conditions. that you-
I will restate it as I think I heard it. I have a motion on the floor to approve the short-term rental application on the Nemeth STR upon the added condition that the deck and stairs be completed. Is
And
that
all cleanup that affects safety be finished before occupancy.
okay? So that is the motion.
Yeah, any decks or stairs.
Yeah,
Any
all- Any
decks or
deck
stairs.
stairs. And all cleanup
Cleanup related to.
related to
I'll get
safety.
you in a second. Okay, anything else from here at the table? Go ahead, Mr. Gilbert.
I just had a question regarding something that was said by the director. That Ms. Nemeth was having trouble getting contractors to do that. My understanding would be that stairs and decks do not require a contractor to build them, that anyone who abides by the codes that apply to stairs and decks can build them.
Sure, yeah, it wouldn't have to be a licensed contractor. So she
Family
does have
member.
some options, is your point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anybody who's built a deck.
Can I
And
ask?
just, I'm sorry, real quick clarification. That the motion to approve to include that condition not to be rented until that condition is met.
For, I said before, the occupancy or tenant. Is
Okay. That was, I don't think we've gotten that language in there, but I thought that was your.
That's what I said.
Does that sound reasonable, Ms. Nemeth, if I may, Mr. Chair? Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. And to clarify, I've contacted Marty Byer from up there, Delmar, who builds cabinets. I misspoke when I said only contractors. I have contacted Ron Rogers. Charlie has Israel, who does building and also without a license. So I am absolutely trying wholeheartedly to get this project done without just licensed contractors. Thank you.
You know, I think there's a built-in checks and balances system, right? The first person that rents this place, if it's a rat hole, they're gonna raise all kind of billy fuss
And
and,
you gotta pass Charlie's inspection. too.
well, he's making money like everybody else.
That's correct.
Charlie's not the god to,
No, I didn't say it was,
Short-term
it
rentals,
goes through many hoops.
you know, so, yeah, I just think their evaluations after they stay there, whatever, I mean, I just can't see her renting this place and run the risk of having a bad review or. I just think there's-
Absolutely.
I agree.
Okay, so I do have a motion on the floor to approve the short-term rental permit on the Nemeth property with the added condition added to the planning commission's condition that all decks and stairs be completed and cleanup and safety issues addressed
Prior to,
Yeah, prior to occupancy,
prior to occupancy.
tenancy,
Tenants,
whatever.
tenant.
There was no letters, no emails supporting or.
I don't believe we've had any issues.
It can't be, because it's not in our packet.
Yeah, it's very much private property. There's not many landowners that are that close.
But your office didn't receive any letters
No.
or emails in opposition or support.
We sent out a total of 3 letters, because there were 6, and we did not receive any, but they're very large lots.
Right. Those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Nay. Motion carries.
So that closes out and going forward.
Mrs. Nemeth,
Yes, sir.
okay, your application has been approved and you will get notification of that. And then, and with this added condition on there besides what the planning commission had recommended. So, I would just say, if you could let the planning and zoning office know when these, repairs have been made. Or
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you call them repairs, but when these have been met, I would greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely. And set up a time. Can I set up a time with them to come out and inspect, or do I go through the building inspector's office, or?
Yes, the planning and zoning office,
Okay.
that's who you turned in your application with. And
Yes.
then, yes, you could contact them and they can come out and look at that and then you can move forward, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
gentlemen.
your
Thank you,
input today.
Dorothy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So we kind of got into this issue with the last revision of the planning commission or the zoning resolution. How do we communicate to the planning commission what we expect to be in that zoning resolution? We just tell Dorothy that? Do we do that via a motion?
I believe that's probably gonna end up, before we make these changes, I think we need to have a joint workshop with the planning commission, with the commissioners and planning and zoning. Whether that's in amongst a public hearing, or if that's a separate one, I believe probably would be a separate one before we go to the public hearings. That's my thought.
Well, there are two kinds of workshops. One, get information, the other one is to make a decision on information. Which we have, in both cases, they can come, one, they don't talk, the other one, they can have an input.
Yeah.
We can decide that.
But I think the last time we did this as well, we
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 had a
worked through
public
some of the
thing.
changes
You bet.
right there during
That's a good thing to do.
the hearings, I believe.
Yeah, we did.
And
Then that's a good thing.
so,
Okay,
Yeah, I sure
Thanks.
think we need to give them direction on what if that's what we agree on, what we expect, and I think this is one of them, that these buildings gotta be complete. I'm assuming they're dealing with breezeways,
Yes.
okay? And I would hope that they continue to have a discussion about density when they consider all these. Not just short-term rental, but all the revisions on the planning resolution, but I don't know how we communicate that to them, that's my question.
we can work that when we get to it. You got something else?
I think,
I think,
well, let me finish up on this question here then. I think that's a workshop with them, is how we communicate
Right.
that to them. So if we want to set up a workshop, we can do that. Whenever.
All
we
about
see
picking a
fit.
date.
Okay.
Available on the morning of the 13th, I have meetings in the afternoon. The 20th, it's a Thursday.
I am not available the week of the 17th through the 21st, so I could do the morning of the 13th, or I can do 24th or 25th.
Either one of those days would work for me, and maybe we ought to throw out a couple possible dates.
24th and 25th, I'm out.
Okay.
26th,
And 26 with me.
you're not available
No,
on
I'm
the
not available
26th.
that whole end of that week, from Monday I can do.
So the 24th you could do,
No, Monday, what is that?
oh,
Or that's 24. Yeah,
So we
You
could
are
do,
or are not
I am.
on the 24th.
why don't we propose to them the
Later the better.
morning of the 13th or on the 24th?
I think 24th is better, only because it gives them time to think about it. You get them together.
We can be ready.
Yeah, they've already had 2 meetings,
Yeah.
right? So they've
Yeah,
been
we're
working.
pretty
Can you get them
close.
to come together then, you know?
I can check and see. I know Mondays are.
There's a couple online, I believe, listening to us now, so,
Think we can throw it out there and see what they come back
why
with.
don't we start with those 2 dates, the morning of the 13th or sometime on the 24th? And see if we can make that work. If not, we'll set a new date. Okay. Did you get that? Yeah, okay, thank you. That would take us then to our next item, which is consideration of another workshop to define the planning and zoning job duties and the reporting structure. And would you like to speak to that
I
real
can
quick?
speak for that. Since I've taken the position on and, there's more and more things that get thrown on my plate, and I think that's not in my job description, but I'm not one to say that. In asking, it is, it falls underneath my department, so I guess what I'm saying is the 2-page job description that I was given by Braden doesn't match even nearly close to what's in the resolution. The resolution's 1, 2, 3, 4 pages long. And I just, from a county sanitarian standpoint, I think there needs to be some things defined. Does it include the entire county, or does it also include the 2 towns?
Right. Things we
I-
need to.
When I spoke to Roger, he was absolutely, yes, I need you to be there for me in that perspective. In that capacity, but I don't get that same feeling from Westcliff. So when I look at my job description, and one of the things it says here is that cooperate with the Custer County Sheriff's Department in the town of Silver Cliff.
We had that.
We noticed
discussion
that earlier.
So I it just, the recent fire that happened, I guess we've had 4. I didn't realize we had 4 house fires recently.
Well, they weren't all house fires,
Okay.
2 grass fires.
Okay. I thought he had mentioned, okay. Anyway, the one house fire, I guess I should have been involved in to go out immediately afterwards and make a decision whether the house was able to be occupied. And if not, cease and desist that property. So that I did not know I needed to do, and wish I would have known that, because I could have acted upon that. I have spoke to OEM and they've given me a radio. I talked to Kevin and Rich about maybe a process with the fire chief as well, a process that we need, and maybe it needs to be put in writing. There's just a lot of things that fall underneath my department that are not very well defined. And I want to make sure I'm doing the best job that I can. And if I don't know I'm supposed to be doing something, I'm not doing it. So.
Could we do a morning session on the 24th and an afternoon session and get these both knocked out the same day?
I would like us to finish the planning commission one first, because that may change what we would want her to see on that. So I think we should wait till that workshop is over, on whatever day it occurs. And give us time then to digest that, and then have a workshop that would answer this. There's no question we need a workshop, and I don't want to beat that dead horse here now. We're not going to solve it here. What we got to do is make the right to have a workshop. Let's pick it. And then discuss what things you brought up. Some of them, I bet you there's a bunch more.
Right, I do, and I don't need to,
You don't need to go.
bring them all up today. I think it's more for the.
So
workshop.
take a look at pick a date before, after the 13th, might be the 24th. And if it's on the 24th, then pick a day in May.
And I think another part of this is the reporting structure. I don't know.
You're
I
beating the
report
dead
to-
horse again. We,
Well-
we agree with you. There are those issues and we need
Okay.
to work at. There's others,
That'll all be part of that.
so.
I understand that. Who do you report to? How is the hierarchy set up?
Yeah.
Because you work for us. Your one hat also falls under Dr. Brown over there. How does that all look?
Right.
Sheriff's office is another one.
OEM.
Fire department,
Go on and name
OEM. We can have that discussion then.
Yeah, I think what would help is if you at that workshop said, here are my issues, questions, gray areas, non-existent. This is the things I think we have to address.
You get
because
those
you're
to
the
us
one
before the work.
in a position to inform us of that. So that would be very helpful on all three of those jobs,
Sure.
director, enforcement, and sanitary. Are you sure it's not sanitary?
Maybe it ought to be.
Yeah, that's right.
So would you guys be adversely affected to going ahead and penciling a workshop in on the afternoon of the 24th for this?
If we don't have the planning commission on the 24th,
Okay,
it's too soon.
okay. Why don't we wait and see when the planning commission comes up then, and then we can. I'm not sure
We can-
exactly how that will affect this one, but
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm not sure I buy into it 100%. These are two. I could see some overlap, but I think we can function with this whether the planning commission meets or not. We're gonna set up what the job description is, right? Planning commission is not gonna tell us what a job description is.
Unless they come up with some other items that.
It's
would
pretty well
require-
defined in the resolution.
I'd like to do them both on the 24th if we can. Do one in the morning, one in the afternoon.
we could schedule it, and then if it doesn't work, we can always cancel. How's that?
That's right.
Or any other day, but
Yeah.
we're all gonna be
We got
here.
time to do it.
This makes sense.
So if we could schedule that workshop for the 24th. We'll shoot for the afternoon on it. Why don't we do that until we hear from the planning commission and stuff?
We do it on the 13th, it's okay.
And,
Still
Yeah,
gonna be
I
on the
can't meet
24th.
I can't meet in the afternoon on the 13th. I
Yeah.
have two other meetings.
but this one can be the
Yeah.
24th in the
Well,
afternoon, and then
To be on.
if it needs to be changed, we have time to change that.
Right.
All right, kiddo, thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Thanks.
Move for a quick recess there.
We will take a short recess. Let's be back in approximately 5
Well,
minutes.
we only have one more item, huh,
Yes.
which I'm not sure why we would discuss that if Braden's coming tomorrow. So we may be done. I don't know.
Yeah, that would probably be better with him.
That's what I was thinking.
I should have thought
We
of
have
that.
recess?
Well, we were discussing it. We only have the one agenda item left, and I'm not sure it's appropriate for today either. So we probably, let's hammer it out, then you'll.
Let's go ahead and do this one then. So we're still all up and running, okay. Our next item was discussion of the VSO job posting. And
I would move to postpone until tomorrow when Braden's here.
I'll second.
okay, so I have a motion on the floor to postpone this item of business. And put it at on tomorrow's agenda. I would suggest the last item. So any discussion?
Yeah, I think we're okay as far as 24-hour notice. It's not a new agenda item. We're postponing it. If it was a new agenda item, I'd have concern about the
As
posting.
long as the people know.
But for the postponement, I'd have to check with Robert Rules, but I think it's we're not introducing a new item of business. It's
I don't see too many people wound up about it
Yeah.
on here now.
Okay. So would that actually fall under unfinished business?
Yes, well, no. We could put it under there if you want, it's up to you.
I always wanted to have one there. I think I said that once before.
Yeah, well, let's put it under unfinished. bid.
There once before.
Okay, well, it's been a while. Let's go ahead and put it under
That'll be
unfinished
fine.
business.
Okay.
If we can. So those in favor of postponing discussion of the ESO job posting and putting it under unfinished business tomorrow's meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any other additional items of business?
No, sir. 2380 clinic. Oh, no.
Okay, hearing no other items
Yeah.
of business, public comment. If anyone has anything they would like to bring before the board at this time, feel free. I'm not seeing anything online. I am not seeing anything in the room. That being the case, I will adjourn this meeting at 10:55 a.m. Thank you all.
And we do not have an executive session today.
No,
Two tomorrow.
2 tomorrow.
Two in.